Hey everybody, so this is continuing my series on kind of close-in Atlanta metro hikes. Again, Georgia has such great hikes, especially up in North Georgia, but sometimes you just want a quick half day hike that's only going to take you a couple hours. You just don't have time for the full day commitment, so you want to just get out for a couple hours, stretch your legs, get out in nature, and there's tons of opportunities around Atlanta for that kind of thing, and that's what we're kind of covering today. It's got some truly unique environments with all the spoke stone and some of the flower and wildlife, so we're looking forward to that. And it's amazing when you start talking about microclimates and how plants adapt, how plants have adapted this very unique environment. So this is well worth checking out. Some of the options you find here for hiking, there's a number of trails. Today we are going to be doing the Blue Trail right here that goes around the base of the mountain and around the lake. So here you get an idea of the kind of unique hike this is. Most of it's over these bare rocks with the small pools full of moss, and it's like a little rock garden. There are places you can see up there above where you can tell years ago they used to actually quarry granite from this area for houses and stuff like that. So this whole area has a big history of rock quarries, especially for granite. So at the point where you kind of see the mountain up there in the distance, that's actually where you start climbing to the top of the mountain. Just to the right here is the Blue Trail, and look for the blue blazes on the rock, and that clues you into like where to go into the woods there. A lot of the hike though is this just real rocky outgrowth, kind of this lunarscape that you're walking through. And that section again has the rock stacks for blazes, so you look for those guys. And I'm also noticing, see the red here? This is that kind of famous flower that just grows in this area in this particular microclimate in these catch ponds. And it's really early this year. We've had really warm weather, but I'm seeing it coming up already. That's what all that red is. And later on, that'll be big full-grown plants. It's quite amazing to see it all. One really nice feature here on the Blue Trail is you do have this real nice open field. Probably used to be an old farm or homestead. But these are also the areas that, you know, birds like to frequent, these kind of margin areas. So I found you do tend to see a lot of birds and stuff in these areas. You see a lot of pine. And also too, I'm kind of surprised to see there's an awful lot of cedar trees here, which you don't see in a lot of places sometimes. But really beautiful field, and later this will be a lot of wildflowers and birds all over the place. And from here you can kind of see, if you can see through the woods here, probably not really, but that on the horizon there is the actual mountain. So we're kind of skirting the mountain, so you always kind of see it in the distance. So just another shot here of some of these incredible little micro environments, and you have everything from this almost fluorescent lichen growing on the rock to other lichen, moss. And every time you come through here, pay attention to these, because these change with the season, and they just make these just incredible little rock gardens. And again, it's just amazing to see how things can adapt to even extreme environments like this. There's a spot of resurrection fern I ran across on this rock. Just waiting for nice weather and some rain to kind of revive it. And so here is the lake. You can see the mountain, parts of the mountain there in the distance. And there's this pretty lake. Actually, in nicer weather, you're going to see a lot of ducks and usually see turtles and stuff. Here we are on the Blue Trail still. I'm just came up from that way from the lake. You can see the lake through there. And there's kind of a lack of marks, period. But then I'm definitely picking it back up here, I guess. That's definitely marked. This area is kind of interesting too. It's not so much just solid rock anymore like the other areas. There is some undergrowth and small trees, and so again, it's kind of amazing in these areas how you have all the different microclimates and things can change so quickly. So continuing on the Blue Trail around the lake, there is a section here that you should stop and just listen to. It's like a pine forest, really thick old wood pine forest. You notice even on the ground it's just solid pine needles. But there's something about these pine groves where the sound quality, and it's just so quiet. Just a nice place to stop and enjoy the woods, maybe meditate for a moment. So a really nice view from across the lake. You can see the lake, it just has a mirror finish. There's a slight breeze just barely rippling the surface there. It's so pretty. You can see we're actually, let's see, where was it? Over there where you see the drain and stuff, that's where we were before. So actually if you go under the lake, follow that path, and it is taking us around the lake, which is good. That was always kind of confusing to me on this trail, but I think I finally figured it out. So here we are taking, again, I'm taking the Blue Trail counterclockwise around the lake. The hike around the lake is absolutely beautiful, very quiet, serene, all kinds of different environments. But you eventually come back out to Mount Arabia, and you'll see this kind of lunar landscape that stretches out here. That's Mount Arabia. You'll see here the blue blazes. We're back to following the blazes on the rock. Also, I'm noticing here, you see some of the red plants already coming out that this mountain's famous for. So, also I did notice in parts of the forest, hundreds and hundreds of dogtooth violet leaves. They have very distinctive mottled leaves. And I think between the red weed and just catching all those dogtooth violets in bloom, which is one of my favorite wildflowers, it's definitely worth a trip coming back to catch those guys. One really interesting thing on the mountain here is to see these little stream systems that actually just run right on top of the rock. Now you can see this has been running so long it's actually worn a little ditch through the rock itself, carved out little pockets. You see it's just a whole stream system that goes all the way back up to the top of the mountain. But just this simple water erosion here is what digs out a lot of the pockets and features of the mountain. So just finishing the loop of the Blue Trail. Actually, and I think I see where I've always kind of missed this before. Where we started, this is kind of the rocky path leading up to the actual trail that goes up to the mountain. Where we got off on the Blue Trail before, further just a little bit back through there on the other side of those trees, I kept thinking the Blue Trail started there and forked off later, but it actually, that's only one leg of the Blue Trail. The other leg is more almost at the base of the mountain, right here. So that makes sense now. There still is lots of places where you can lose kind of the marking system for a bit. The blazes do get a little confusing. Areas like this, it's just hard to blaze sometimes. But so if you want to go clockwise, come further toward the mountain, look for the blue mark by the rock cairn, and that will take you clockwise around the lake, and you'll end up coming out back further down the trail there, closer to the parking lot. So now that I've finished this loop, I'm actually in better shape just to pop up real quick. Well, it's still a strenuous little hike, but I'm going to pop up real quick to the top of the mountain here. Hey everyone, back here at kind of the base of the mountain, you'll see these rock cairns and be able to follow those. That's what you'll be looking for to follow up the mountain. And again, it's just this kind of lunar landscape that you'll be climbing up this solid granite rock. Again, here at the base of the mountain, there's a whole explanation of the red weed Diamorpha that grows here, and I've talked some about and shown you. It's actually started already come up. It's actually kind of early this year, but it's definitely worth coming to make a special trip in April, or just check the website to see when it's blooming, and just to see that in full growth is kind of amazing. It's not like there's a distinct peak, but there is just kind of a large high area. You can see in every direction, well above the tree line. There's these beautiful catch basins at the top. You can already see the red Diamorpha already coming up in a lot of these. These would be beautiful in the springtime. A lot of people make an effort to get up here for sunrises and sunsets. You can just imagine how beautiful that would be up here. And also they open the park for special occasions like eclipses and stargazing. We'll definitely be back here again in the spring. I want to come back and see the dogtooth violets and of course the Diamorpha in full bloom. So we'll definitely be back, but definitely a unique park worth checking out. This is just about 20 minutes on I-20 east of Atlanta. Real quick, easy to get here. It's got just some great hiking. Today we did the Blue Trail, which you've just seen. It's a great mix of this open rock hiking with all this really amazing microclimates and the rock catch pools and rock gardens, as well as open woods and some great lake hiking, pine grove hiking that's real quiet and beautiful. And then we also popped up to the top of the mountain itself, which is amazing. We will definitely be back in the spring to catch that. The red Diamorpha in full bloom, as well as, like I was seeing so much dogtooth violet. I definitely want to come back and catch that in bloom. Again, guys, thank you so much. If you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe, and we will check you guys later. Keep on hiking.